Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 AP English, the 1010 Concurrent Enrollment class, and we are working now with the St. Martin's Guides lecture number 7 over chapter 7, proposing a solution. Now, here's the really interesting thing. Once you've written the chapter 6 arguable thesis paper, you can then begin to play around with variations on that theme, which is what you'll be doing now for chapters 7, 8, 9, and even 10 to a lesser degree in 10. I'm just reading with you on page 240 from the Axelrod Cooper St. Martin's Guide 12th edition. Can a student convince his professor that giving frequent low-stakes exams is a good idea? Can an education professor persuade school boards to push back high school start times? Would a national student exchange program help bridge the political and cultural divide? Could a tax on soda pop help reduce obesity? These are some of the problems and solutions addressed by the proposals in this chapter. Proposals like these need to convince their audience, first, that the problem actually exists and is serious, and second, that the proposed solution not only will solve the problem, but is the best available option. And then jumping over to page 241, in this chapter, we ask you to identify a problem you care about and write a proposal to solve it. Okay? So that's our goal. Now, if you'll flip the page, we're going to look at 4 models that are really fine exemplars of this. We're first of all going to start with O'Malley's argument for more low-stakes exams. Then we're going to look at Filippo's contention that having high school start later in the day would improve student performance. 1 or 2 of you might be interested in that one. David J. Smith's proposes a national student exchange to help Americans get to know each other well. And finally, Kelly Brownell and Thomas Frayden will propose raising taxes on sugary soft drinks as a way to stem the obesity epidemic, quote unquote. Now, what are the basic genre features? Well, there's 4 of them, starting on page 242. You really want to pay close attention here so that you understand exactly what you're doing. First, you have to have a focused, well-defined problem. So we're back to something we were working with before, a problem, a controversial topic. It has to be a real problem, okay? It can't just be an assumed problem, or it's got to be one that you can articulate as a legitimate problem. Once you've got the problem articulated, then page 244, you can offer a well-argued solution. About well-argued, what do we mean again? Consideration of the historical precedent, considering the fact that there has been others that have thought on this topic. What do they have to say? The third element is on 245, an effective response to objections and alternate solutions. That's crucial. Write that one in your notes. That's at the heart of what makes great proposal writing. You have to consider possible objections, why your solution might not work. No, my solution is perfect in every way, and there could be no kinds of objections. Well, it's not a real problem then, because real problems always have alternate ideas. You want to make sure that you are providing potential alternate solutions, obviously arguing that your proposal is a little better than those alternates. Finally, number 4 on page 246, you want to offer a clear and logical organization. We keep saying this is one of the cardinal features of good academic writing, because if you are a good writer, you're a good speaker. I mean, go back to our comments on Francis Bacon's of Studies. That is to say, they go hand in hand. Being a good reader will help you to be a good writer, but as well it will help you in your discourse, as Bacon will call it. Now, our readings will begin on page 246 with the O'Malley, more testing, more learning, and then the point that we want to make here as well is on page 251. Notice this is not a works cited page, but a references page. Now this is critical, so sit up and take some good notes here. We are now looking at a different style book from the Modern Language Association, the MLA style book. We are now looking at the American Psychological Association, APA style book. Now you're going to use Axelrod Cooper here. You're going to go to page 583 to 593 to understand the key differences between the MLA and the APA style book. Okay? Now, in the next model, on 255, you'll see that we have an MLA style book, that is to say, works cited page, and this will allow you to be able to differentiate between the two style books. And I want you to begin to do that. What is different between the MLA style book and the APA style book? Now, I will say, and put this in your notes, for the paper that you will be writing for Chapter 7, go ahead and stick with the MLA style book that you are learning. You're new in this project, but I want you to at least have some exposure to the APA style book and to know what it looks like. How does it read a little bit differently? Okay? Of course, within the fields of science, often the APA will be the style book that's most often used. All right? Now let's go to 268 really quickly and study the prompt one more time just to make sure we know what we're doing in terms of the assignment itself. And to make sure that we're working really well with that one, okay? So 268, here's the prompt. Write an essay proposing a solution to a problem. Choose a problem faced by a community or group to which you belong and address your proposal to one or more members of the group or to outsiders who might help solve the problem. Now I want to make this suggestion, so write it in your notes. Students have told me that it's much easier to write this proposal if you start locally instead of globally. Now, what do I mean by that? Pick a problem that is specific to your community, locally, okay? Instead of picking some problem with worldwide issues, global issues, much easier to write this if you start specifically with something local, and here's why. You can actually go and interview and talk to key players in the problem and the potential solution. It's powerful, it's very useful, and it's also much quicker, okay? So there's the recommendation. Now, to 273 really quickly, I just want to point this one out. One of the keys here is to make sure that you assess how the problem has been framed and then reframe it for your readers. Hypercritical in your creating your proposal to understand that's what you want to be doing, okay? And then over to page 276, you want to develop a response to objections or alternate solutions, the consideration of the acrimonious audience. There's going to be readers that don't agree with your solution. Have you taken that into consideration at all, okay? Finally, again, the suggestion is start locally. Find a problem, even if it has to do with our school. Find a problem and then develop a potential solution. Now, of course, that will involve making an arguable thesis. You have a solution to a problem. You want to articulate that. The utilization of your 5 pieces of external validation will obviously help you make your argument. Remember, though, there are other kinds of solutions to the problem that you're presenting. Make sure you mention those in your paper. And of course, the possibility of interviewing somebody locally to try and create your proposal has led any number of my students over the years out of 303 to write proposals that were actually utilized within the community. I had a student who wrote a proposal about how to solve a problem within the school. It was taken all the way up to the school board, and they made the decision to follow the proposal. It's quite an interesting way things work. So let me challenge you to start locally. And of course, if you want to write something globally as a solution to a problem, that's as well fine. Best of luck. Thank you.